Alright, Donald Trump genuinely throws our ally Ukraine under the bus in this clip that I'm about to play. You have to look at Zelensky's face when Trump says this line about Vladimir Putin, because as you know, Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, is visiting the United States today, meeting with VP Kamala Harris, meeting with President Biden, and also meeting with Donald Trump in an attempt to cover all of his bases before this upcoming election and as Russia enters the next stage of this war. Throughout the entire meeting with Donald Trump, he decided to undermine Zelensky's every single move, undermine his every word, and this clip disgusted me because Trump is sarcastic, he's a pompous asshole to Zelensky's face. Make sure you leave a like, drop a blue heart, and let's jump right in with this clip that reads, here is a comparison of statements made by Trump versus Harris on Ukraine over the past 24 hours.
It should stop, and the president wants it to stop, and I'm sure President Putin wants it to stop.
Putin started this war, and he could end it tomorrow if he simply withdrew his troops from Ukraine's sovereign territory. Of course, he has demonstrated no intention of doing that. Instead, he continues to assault civilian infrastructure and terrorize the people of Ukraine.
Do you believe that Ukraine should turn over some of its own land to Russia in order to end the war?
We'll see what happens.
There are some in my country who would instead force Ukraine to give up large parts of its sovereign territory, who would demand that Ukraine accept neutrality and would require Ukraine to forego security relationships with other nations. These proposals are the same of those of Putin. And let us be clear, they are not proposals for peace. Instead, they are proposals for surrender, which is dangerous and unacceptable.
So we have a very good relationship, and I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin, and I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly.
So obviously there is a night and day difference. Every time Donald Trump talks about Ukraine, he is talking about it from the framework of what is best for Vladimir Putin, whereas VP Harris talks about it from the framework of what is best for America, for the world. Now, VP Harris has a strong stance that Vladimir Putin needs to remove his troops from Ukraine. This was an unjustified invasion, an annexation that violates the international law that America benefits from, because if we start ceding ground to Russia and China and Iran, then those countries begin to set the standards for what the international rule looks like, and their laws would be like, hey, you can take your next door neighbor if you have the military might. Now, here is a clip that genuinely pissed me off. I usually remove my emotions from this stuff. Yeah, Trump is annoying, but Trump's sanctimony in this clip, the smugness that he talks to Zelensky with, really made me mad.
So we have a very good relationship, and I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin, and I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly. I really think we're going to get it resolved.
I hope we have more good relations.
We're going to have, oh, I see. Yeah, but you know, it takes two to tango.
That is Donald Trump being a sarcastic asshole. So I'm going to break down the situation. Zelensky says, I hope we can have more good relations with us. Trump chuckles and said, oh, haha, I see. Well, it takes two to tango. So what he's saying is that if Zelensky wants a better relationship with Trump, the onus is somehow on Zelensky to be nicer to Trump. Zelensky has never talked trash about Trump ever. Trump is the one who is constantly saying Zelensky is a salesman. He is conning the US people. He wants more war and bloodshed. I mean, when he says it takes two to tango, Trump is the one who needs to be tangoing. This is just, I'm going to play it one more time. Do you guys hear the smugness that Trump is dripping with here? He's trying to be that sarcastic asshole that won him the primaries in the 2016.
We're going to have, oh, I see. Yeah, but you know, it takes two to tango.
It takes two to tango. Yeah, well, you're the one that is not dancing right now, Trump. Zelensky clearly looks uncomfortable standing to Trump, and he's thinking this guy cannot be serious. He has gone through years of war, Zelensky has, and Trump is still standing here undermining his every move. And again, we can just compare that to the way that VP Harris talks to Zelensky, talks about Ukraine. She is very clear.
Well, President Zelensky, it is good to see you again. This is our 7th visit together, and welcome back to Washington, D.C. As I have made clear on our 6 previous meetings and throughout Putin's brutal aggression and war against Ukraine, my support for the people of Ukraine is unwavering. I've been proud to stand with Ukraine I will continue to stand with Ukraine, and I will work to ensure Ukraine prevails in this.
VP Harris is very, very clear and concise with how she feels about this war. Again, that comes in stark contrast with the way that Donald Trump talks about it. He doesn't even have a plan. He has concepts of a plan, if that. His peace deal involves ceding Ukrainian land and emboldening Russia down the road to do the same thing again. That creates the incentive structure for Russia to just try this again in 5 years once they've rearmed. Whereas VP Harris has one solution. Russia pulls its troops out of Ukraine. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Vladimir Putin waged this war unilaterally. He's the one that needs to stop it. Trump uses this rhetoric about Vladimir Putin wanting the war to end just as much as Zelensky does. That is genuinely propaganda coming from the Kremlin. Here's a clip of Trump and Zelensky standing next to each other.
So what I expect to hear from the President Zelensky, what are your expectations?
Say it a little louder, please.
What are your expectations from this meeting? What do you expect to hear from
Nothing. Look, this is a meeting, and we have a big race going on right now. I guess 37 days left, and we're leading in the polls, so we'll see how it all works out. Hopefully it'll work out, but if it does, we're going to work very much with both parties to try and get this settled and get it worked out. It has to end.
He didn't answer the question. It does have to end. And Trump also says it never should have happened. Yeah, Putin never should have invaded Ukraine in the first place. Again, look how uncomfortable Zelensky looks standing there. Trump refuses to even answer the question. This reporter asked, what is the expectation of this meeting? And Trump says, well, it's a meeting.
At some point it has to end. He's gone through hell, and his country has gone through hell like few countries have ever. Like it's happened anywhere. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. It's a terrible situation.
We have seen stuff like this before. Vladimir Putin has done something very similar a decade ago.
And I will say I have.
And Trump did nothing about it while he was the president. It happened under President Obama, but while Trump was in office, he had 4 years to place sanctions on Russia, to incentivize Russia to leave Ukraine, or leave Crimea, sorry, he did nothing.
Had a great relationship. It was very honorable. I don't even know if you know this, but when they did the impeachment hoax, it was a hoax, just a Democrat hoax, which we won. But one of the reasons we won it so easily is that when the president was asked, it was over a phone call with the president, and he said he could have grandstanded and played cute, but he didn't do that. He said, President Trump did absolutely nothing wrong. He said it loud and clear, and the impeachment hoax died right there.
First of all, the impeachment did not end there. Donald Trump was successfully impeached, but he wasn't convicted. Secondly, Zelensky looks very uncomfortable standing here, and I can almost tell what he's thinking right now. As Trump is rambling on about this impeachment hoax, I think Zelensky is probably thinking something along the lines of, I really hope this doesn't strain my relationship with the Democrats in America, standing next to this absolute lunatic. You can tell he knows that Trump is crazy, and he's just hoping that Democrats understand why he has to do this. And I do. I understand why he had to hedge his bets. Trump has a 50% chance of getting back into office. If Zelensky would have visited the US and snubbed Trump, not even said hi to Trump, Trump would have genuinely just given Ukraine up when he got back in office. That is how Trump functions. If you slight him personally, he will give an entire country up. So Zelensky is stuck in this weird situation. Do I either stand next to Trump for 20 minutes and just take the heat, or do I slight him personally and potentially lose my country? That is the situation he was in. Again, I hope Trump doesn't win right now, but all models show a 50% chance. That is why we have to vote, mobilize, make sure your friends have a plan. Also, make sure you leave a like, drop a blue heart, hit that subscribe button. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.